Am I audible? Good morning, students. Am I audible? Okay, da. Today we will see about our remaining types of organization structure. Already we are seeing lot of organization structure, right? Line and staff authority, departmentalization and delegation of authority, right? In that continuation, today we will see organizational structure type, centralization and decentralization, and job design, right? Up to this, our unit 3 first part is over. So in this centralization and decentralization, so you need to know about the continuation part for the departmentalization. So that already you know departmentalization nothing but a grouping of activities and employees into departments, right? So these are the need and importance of department. You have to know about what are the criteria for choosing your departmentalization. Then these are the departmentation by the type, functional departmentation, then product and process, then geographical and customer, right? The main focus for this functional is the grouping jobs by the functions performed in the process. You need to know about your grouping basis on your product or customer flow, right? Then product entirely it is jobs groups by the product line. Then geographical here, grouping jobs on the basis of territory or geography. Then customer, the grouping jobs by the type of customer and its needs. So these are the types of departmentalization. Already I explained in the previous slide with a single point. So these are the 5 types of departmentalization: functional basis, then the territorial basis, nothing but geographical, then process and product, then customer basis, right? So for this departmentalization type, these are the example for the particular type. So the functional example for this one, marketing, accounting, and finance. Then customer, consumer banking and commercial banking branches. Then product, cleaning products, party supplies, paper product divisions. Then geographic, based on your geographical location. So North American and South American. This they are given just an example. Then process, printing and viewing, assembling, right? So this next continuation for our departmentalization, delegation of authority. So delegate nothing but to entrust authority to a subordinate. That means the work allocation or part of some work to given allocated to subordinate. So what is that? The subordinate is the major role to do all the process. He or she is the responsible person for completing the work, right? So accountability is a keyword for in this delegation of work. So is the obligation to carry out responsibility and exercise authority in terms of performance standard established by the superior. So what is that? Once a subordinate is assigned a duty and given the necessary authority to complete it, he or she becomes answerable for the result, right? So these are the principles of delegation. The delegation to confirm the desired objective, then the responsibility not delegatable. But what is that? Rights has to be delegatable, right? Then authority to match duties. The next one, unity of command should be followed. Then the last principle is limits to authority to well defined, right? So these are the main principles for our principles of delegation. Then effective delegation. So here you need to focus about these are the key points. Define assignments, delegate authority in the light of results, right? So what you are expected, you can focus, you can make your work towards to that successive things, right? So once you can decide your result, this is your expected result. So based on your expected result, you can move towards your workflow. Then the second effective delegation, select the person in the light of job, right? Based on your job, who's the right person and who are the eligible persons. So you need to check these are the conditions, then form the group, right? Then maintain open lines communication. The next effective delegation is to establish proper control. Then the last thing, reward effective and successful assumption of authority, right? So in this difficulties in delegation, so you need to focus about on the part of executive and on the part of subordinates. Already explained in our previous class. Then you need to know the difference between delegation and empowerment, right? So in this delegation, you know about these are the key points. This is how you do it. What I want to look like, then I'll give you the last 5%, then I own it. These are the questions and the keywords you should know about in your under the delegation, right? Then the similar thing in your empowerment, you should know about, oh, this is your role, then this is where we are going, then you own it, fluid. These are all the questions and the answers you should know about in your empowerment, right? Then up to this, our previous class is completed. So today we will move to our centralization. Our next architecture type is centralization, right? So centralization, nothing but the single word towards the definition. It is the degree to which decision making is concentrated at upper levels in the organization. So what is meant by centralization? Centralization is a common thing, right? So you can make all the decisions and taking necessary actions depend on the single centralized person. So, for example, one common organization having top manager, he or she is make all the decisions, right? And upper level employees just to simply carry out those orders, right? So, centralization nothing but there's a one single common person to make all the necessary action and decision, right? Then decentralization, it is nothing but the lowest level of people, right? So decision can make at any level. So here, when an organization delegates decision makings to managers who are closest to the action, right? Then employee empowerment here, it increasing the decision making authority. That means power of employees, right? So just to see the diagram for the clear understanding, centralization, the n number of people depends on the single person, right? He is a full responsible and he is a right person to take all the necessary action and decision, right? Then see this diagram, this is decentralization. Each and every person act individually and take decisions individually, work towards their own thoughts, right? So see the another one diagram. For example, this is a centralization and decentralization. Here, this centralized person having major responsibility and roles, right? But here, this is the centralized person, but there is no comprised thought for given the particular person having all the rights. Each and every individual people act as a major role, then combine together to form the another thing, right? Then see this example for centralization and decentralization. The vertical differentiation here, you should concentrate about all the key points. So what is that? In centralization, you have to avoid your duplication work, concentrates on your power, then consistent decision, right? Then facilitates coordination. These all the things are focused in your centralization. Then decentralization here, it trains your managers to decide, right? Allow managers to do more because lot of people are having the rights to take necessary action, right? Then results to better decision because individual decisions are combined together and start their work. Then allows greater flexibility because the decisions are changeable based on at any condition, right? But here there is no key points like in yours decentralization. See this once again, centralization and decentralization. Here your centralized organization, that is decision making as a centralized person. See this diagram. Your decision making as a centralized organization. Here your for example, head office decision. So the particular person making and deliver to all the decision to others, right? Then vertical decentralization. So check here, n number of persons are allocated present in this workflow. So for example, you are having n number of roles, supervisor and manager and employee. These are the divisional representation, right? So in this vertical decentralization, the decision making is based on these individual department, right? So see the diagram clearly, the centralized organization depends on only one of division, that is head office. In this vertical decentralization having n number of division, then a horizontal decentralization also having n number of division, but it fully depends on the same department, right? So that only they are giving the example for department 1, 2 and 3, right? So you can know by using the single word centralization as the common thing. The decisions made by the single person is, right, the topmost manager having the role. Then decentralization having grouping n number of people, in this n number of people having their own thoughts and decisions, right? Then see the more key points about centralization and decentralization. So centralization's environment is stable, right? Decentralization, the environment is complex and uncertain, right? Because here there is no fixed thing based on your present scenario. Here your workflow and your environment is changeable. Then lower level managers are not as capable or experienced at making decisions as upper level managers, right? Because here the centralization carries the topmost manager as the most having the most priorities prioritized one, right? Then decentralization, here the your lower level managers are capable and experienced at making decisions. Then your next comparisonal point, lower level managers do not want a say in decisions, right? Because we are already we said top most people having the full rights, right? Then this decentralization, all the people have a voice making in a decision, right? Then decisions are relatively minor, but here decisions are significant. Organization is facing a crisis for the risk of company failure. Here, your corporate culture is open to allowing managers a say in what happens. In thus, the centralization company is larger one. Here, your company is geographically dispersed. Right? Then, effective implementation of company strategies depends on your managers retaining say over what happens. Here, effective implementation of your company strategies depends on managers having involvement and flexibility to make decisions, right? So in single point you have to remember the topmost people having all the rights in the centralization. In your decentralization all the people have all the rights and have their own voice, right? So based on that comparison, here they are giving more centralization and decentralization, right? So in general, centralization meaning is a concentration of powers at a higher level only. Decentralization, it refers to the distribution of powers at every level of management, right? So you have to know about the clear point for this meaning, right? Then authority in centralization, the top management retains the maximum authority. Here, the middle and bottom level are having lowest authority. Then this authority is systematically divided at each and every level, right? Then suitable for smallest or size organization also. Here, it is suitable for largest scale organization. Then the freedom is managers have less freedom of action. In your decentralization, manager have more freedom of action. Right? Already you know clear about the previous slide also. And geographical way, centralized is the international and global brands, but in your decentralized, fully focused on your local brands, right? Then the brand is a multi-brand initiatives. Here, individual brand or customized products, right? So I'm giving the detailed difference and characteristics of your centralization and decentralization architecture, right? Or organizational structure. And sentiment, here the products benefiting from standardization and scale. Here the products with a strong national or regional pride. Then properties and partnership and sponsorship. Here the global sponsorship like Olympics and World Cup, right? Because it is a centralized one, right? Here it depends on your local sponsorship. Then cost is a procurement and packaging, production media. Here, when high import duties point of sale materials. Then standardization of approaches. Here, research agency management. Here, it is the promotions pricing. Then control of functional reporting. Reporting to a global head of specific function. Here, reporting to local general manager. Right? So you need to know about all the clear comparison between centralized and decentralized organization. Right? Then the next just a keyword point for the centralized, it is a part A question, right? Centralized, see the diagram, it is just a hierarchical way, right? Topmost people having the rights. So it is represented by the triangle, right? Decentralized, it is the rights has to be shared by all the people. So it is represented by the circle way. So here it generally called as efficient and a safe one. The test through structure. These are all the key points. You should narrate your own stories by using these keywords, right? Then specialized, then structured thing. Here simple to manage, easy to scale. Here it is difficult to scale, complex to manage, right? So you should focus these are all the thing in your centralized and decentralized. But then see the difference based on your authority. Then delegation of authority is the nature. It is a compulsory in every organization at every level, right? Then decentralization of authority here it is may not be present in the organization. It is the top level management which decides introduction of your decentralization in the organization. Then level of control here, the more control of top level executive over the medium and lower level executive. Here the lesser control over lower level executive. Then status, it is a process to share task. Here it is not a process, it is a result of the policy decision of the organization. Then the scope, it is restricted to different superiors and their subordinates. When we delegate, we multiply it by 2. Here it covers your entire organization. The authority is spread and entrusted to all executive according to their level. When we decentralize, we multiply it by many, right? So up to this, your centralization and decentralization is over. Our next architecture type is job design. So according to the Mathis and Jackson, job design is defined as a process that integrates work content. A job is nothing but a process that integrates work content. That means task function relationship. You have to give the detailed integration for these all the things. Then the rewards, that is extrinsic and intrinsic. That is the two-way method, right? Then and the qualification required for each job in a way that meets the needs of employees and organization. So a job is nothing but a process that integrates work content and the rewards and the qualification required for each job in a way that meets the needs of employees and organization, right? So based on your motivational, a job maybe give the detailed thing, more motivation and less motivation. These the two original keyword characteristic. So it can depend on your job result. Few skills needed, work a small part of the whole, then minor impact of on others, decision made by others, difficult to see effectiveness. These are all the points under come the less motivation, right? Then your more motivation, just opposite words for these all the keywords. Then here you have to focus the your task oriented process. So in this task significance is the center point. So you can identify your task then needed for the various skill to do this particular process, right? Then based on your work completion, then autonomy, and you can get the valid feedback. Then your job is a full satisfied one, right? So this is just a diagram for based on the motivational job design. Then the mechanisms of job design is see this diagram. Mechanism of job design, the task complexity and the number of tasks versus a two parameter, right? So task complexity is a variety of tasks of similar nature, then variety of tasks of different nature, right? Here few tasks of similar nature, here the complexity, few tasks of different nature, right? So you need to take all the keywords vice versa. So this is look like a matrix representation, right? So variety of tasks in similar nature, different nature. Here, similar few tasks is a similar nature. Here, few tasks of different nature. So in your job design, having main aspects of your job design is this. 4 point job rotation, job enrichment, work simplification, and job enlargement, right? Job rotation is a relief from your boredom, right? Then enrichment, increased responsibility, that is wider range of duties added. Okay. Then your job enlargement, extension of work plus additional tasks. Right? Your job enlargement, extension of work plus additional tasks to obtain a complete unit. Then work simplification, breaking down into small and sub parts, right? So in your job design, main focus you have to depends on these all the thing, right? Then job simplification, nothing but simplification of work requires already you know, right? What is that? The entire or failure work carried to another person to make a simplest one, right? So that jobs can be broken down into their smallest unit, then analyzed. Each resulting the subunit typically consists of relatively few operations. This is the technical theory. Then job simplification, nothing but you have to give each and every your major work. Then the workers share to others. Then you can broken down into their smallest unit, then analyze and make them in a successive thing, right? And the job simplification advantages and disadvantages is here already you know you can broken down into your very smaller parts, then your already you know, right? The large part is broken down into a small modules are called a fragment, right? So it is a task repeatedly done over and over again by the same individual. So see the difference between advantages and disadvantages of your job simplification here. Employee therefore is paid higher rewards, the productivity is also high, achieves specialization, right? The training cost to the organization is practically negligible. Here, disadvantages, a worker is likely to get bored and remain absent frequently. Then, quality and quantity may suffer in the long run due to frustration. Organization may have to attract workers by offering higher wages, right? So, these are the advantages and disadvantages. Our next aspects of job design is job enlargement. So here, what is that enlargement? Efforts at enlargement have met with less than enthusiastic result. So as one employee who experienced such a redesign on his job, before I had one loosey job, then now through enlargement I have three, right? So what does that mean? Already having the same work, the same way we are doing anything, but that enlargement should just they are redesign our job based on the various criteria, right? Because already the same workflow have met some any failure condition. So in this enlargement is needed to develop the pro again the job is a successful thing. Then it means where two or more simple tasks are combined and allotted to an employee, right? So what does that mean? For example, in a case of vehicle driver, apart from driving, he can undertake the job of maintenance of the vehicle, right? But what is the major role for the driver? Just he is doing the driving. He is recruiting for driving purpose only. But apart from the driving, he can undertake the job of maintenance of the vehicle, right? So two or more simple tasks are combined and allotted to an employee. Increasing job range, but not the depth, right? So advantages for this enlargement is more variety in a job, acquiring additional proficiency, then dissatisfaction of employees can not to be avoided after a long period. Then job enlargement having these two keywords, creativity and business plan. So in this business plan and technology produce a lot of creative things, right? So this enrichment involves providing an employee with more responsibility for a job and challenges the individual skills at work, right? So in this enrichment involves increasing the decision making authority and encouraging the employee with their task. For this concept released in this year of 1950, right? Developed. Then job enrichment means it have these are the keywords, right? The job which have greater variety, a job which requires higher knowledge and skills, a job which gives workers more autonomy, the job which give workers more responsibility, Then the job which have chances for personal growth and also professional growth. Then the job which gives meaningful work experience, right? So under this, you can give that a job enrichment means it covers these all the things, right? Then the features of job enrichment is or characteristics is here nature of job. So your job enrichment is a vertical expansion of the job. Then objective here it is that the objective of job enrichment is to make the job more lively and challenging. Then positive results. So your work always get a successful thing if the workers are highly skilled, right? Then direction and control. Your job enrichment encourages self-discipline, right? So these are the features of job enrichment. Then here these are the options for your enrichment: rotate job and combine task, identify project, then create autonomous work team, then implement participative management. Right. So you need to know the detailed elaboration for this key point. So rotate job nothing but you can use your give the people an opportunity to use a variety of job skills. Right. Just they are giving the rotation for the same option. Right. So, for example, if your college can have n number of HOD, right? Because they are changing the HOD yearly. See, for example, in university colleges, the fixed rule is the HODs are changed by the year, right? Because then only you can give the respect to all the persons equally, right? So, for the same work, we can give the rotational basis. Then combine work activities to provide a more challenging and complex work assignment, right? Then identify project focused work units here, break your function line and form the project focused unit, right? So that next create autonomous work teams is nothing but your job enrichment at the group level. Then implement participative management. Here allow the team members to participate in the decision making and get involved in strategic planning, right? So you have to involve your all the team members. Then see the advantages and disadvantages, that is limitations. Here, the job enrichment is useful to both the workers and the organization. Then the worker gets achievement, recognition, and self-actualization, right? Because here we are recruiting our people as the highest skilled person, right? Then the worker finds a job is meaningful. Then it motivates the workers to give best performance. The job enrichment reduces absenteeism, labor turnover, and grievances, right? Then next shortcomings or limitations. Here, in many cases, the job enrichment does not give the expected result. It makes many changes in the job. So many workers oppose it, right? Then it has limited use for highly skilled managers and professionals. Then managers force the workers to accept the job enrichment, which is not good, right? Then the job rotationist refers to a technique where the employees periodically rotate from one job to another within the work design, right? So, for example, the job one is carried by the worker A, then immediately the worker A changes to allocated to job two, right? Already the worker B is doing the job two. He is that job two. Then the worker B is again rotate for allocating the job three, right? Then it involves moving employees among different jobs over a period of time, right? Then job rotation refers to the movement of an employee from one job to another. So here are not actually changed, only the employees are rotated among various jobs, but the jobs that does not be changeable one, right? Then characteristics of job rotation here, the meaningfulness of work, skill variety, then task identity, then task significance. These are all the things should be followed in your job rotation. And then advantages of this job rotation is a variety of skills so that improve and increase the skills of the employee due to the organization as well as the individual benefit, right? Then improves the earning capacity here due to the job enlargement, the personal learners many new activities, right? Then wide range of activities here since a single employee handles a multiple activities, the company can try and reduce the number of employees. Then there's next thing, the disadvantages of job rotation is frequent interruption because a person who is doing a particular job and get it comfortable, but suddenly we can rotate our the same job to another person, right? So it is very difficult to understand a newer person. So suddenly finds himself shifted to another job or department. This interrupts the work in both the departments, right? So the persons can be affected for the purpose of learning time, right? If the particular learning period is over, then the person is easily carried the work, right? So frequent in interruption, then reduces uniformity in quality, because when your new worker is shifted or rotated in the department, he takes time to learn the new job, right? Already I said. So it makes the mistakes in the process and affects the quality of the job, right? So if your same person carried until the entire thing, maybe the quality should be remain the same, right? It does not affect the quality. Then motivation by the job design, the motivation nothing but the keyword. Here we can give the lot of motivational to the particular job design. So GCM is the job characteristic model. Here you can give the five core job dimension: skill variety, task identity, task significance, autonomy, and feedback. Right. So skill variety is a requirements for the job, different task in the job. Then task identity is the completion of your whole piece of work. Our task significance is the job's impact on others, right? Then autonomy, the level of discretion in decision making. Feedback, nothing but the amount of direct and clear information on performance, right? So these are the key points and important thing in your job design, right? So I just give the summary about your job design. So job design nothing but as a process that integrates work content, then the rewards and the qualification required, right? So for each job in a way that the needs of employees and organization, right? In this job design, you can have that comparison based on your task complexity and number of tasks. So your variety of tasks of similar nature, and here different nature, then few tasks of similar nature, few tasks of different nature, right? And the job design aspects is job rotation, job enrichment, work simplification, and job enlargement, right? So enrichment and enlargement, rotation and simplification. You just remember these. Simplification, nothing but fragmentation. So that largest part are breaking down into small unit. Then you can do the work in the small unit. Then you can integrate your work. Right. Then job enrichment, here it has increased your responsibility. That means wider range of duties added. Then enlargement, here the extension of the work plus additional tasks to obtain a complete unit. Right. Then job rotation, it is fully the relief oriented, because the job is rotated, the workers rotated to the persons, right? The work is not changeable one, right? Then already we seen that advantages and disadvantages for each and every allocation for the job enlargement and enrichment and entire thing, right? So enrichment covers these all the key point, have greater variety. Then it requires higher knowledge and skills. It give workers more autonomy. Then it give workers more responsibility, have the chances for personal growth. It gives meaningful work experience, right? These you can clearly known about these all the things, right? So we are seeing about features and characteristics of job enrichment and advantages and limitation. Then job rotation keywords, characteristics and advantages and disadvantages, right? So we all are completed about the job rotation. So in the entire or third unit first half is we are covering the key points about the organizational structure, right? So it is an important part B question. Organizational structure, each and every structure having some 8 mark or 6 mark, right? Line and staff authority, then departmentalization, then delegation of authority, centralization and decentralization, job design, right? So up to this part, our organization structure type. So I said about these topic, right? So line and staff authority, then departmentalization, delegation of authority, centralization and decentralization, job design, right? So in before that, we seen about our organization structure and organization chart, right? So before that, what is the nature and purpose of organization, and formal, which one is our formal organization, which one is our informal organization? We cover these all the things in our unit 3 first off, right? So in the remaining half, we are recruiting the persons based on our job needed for our job, right? So how we are recruiting, for example, in HR department is a major role, right, for the recruitment purpose. So HR management and HR planning recruitment and the selection training and development, then performance career planning and management. These are all the things on our remaining half, right? So up to this, do you have any doubt? Up to this, do you have any doubt?